state-of-the-art racing car. Coming towards us, Yannick Dalmas, the French driver, and there is Prost. Jackie, when you come out of the pit lane in the car that they have done 2.5 hours of practice in yesterday, the 60 minutes qualifying and preceding that the hour and a half untimed, what are you looking for?
First of all, you've got to be sure, Murray, that the work that's been carried out in the car has left it in the same handling condition as you enjoyed the previous day, because you've probably worked during those 2.5 hours to get the car up, to remove the sort of understeer that might have been troubling you, or maybe trying to reduce the oversteer, and you've got the so-called perfect balance. And it's very difficult to plug cars together overnight to be exactly the same, particularly if they've been broken down, to track test them and to make sure that everything's in working order. Perhaps there may even have been an engine change. So therefore, everything has been reset. And of course, those mechanics, and this is the final Grand Prix of the year, they're just a little bit tired. They've just had enough motor racing for one 12-month period. Perhaps they haven't just got the geometry as you would like it. So these first few tentative laps are to see how the car feels and if it feels just as it did yesterday.
Now we're looking at Andrea De Cesaris. This is a view that none of us have ever seen before. The wide-eyed Andrea De Cesaris in his Brabham, looked at backwards by the camera, and you can see the course receding in the background. You can see how quickly these cars are going.
One of the big things you should look for here is you will see the amount of neck movement and head movement the driver gets when you get a shot like we've just seen, because racing drivers go through an amazing amount of torture. And there's that camera. You can see the camera looking back on Andrea De Cesaris. He almost has to look around the car. And there's the shot again. Look at the shot going through that driver's neck. Racing drivers have very, very strong necks, but they get enormous wear on their vertebrae, on their spinal cord and their neck. There's a lot of calcium collected because simply the shock and the wear and tear in racing nowadays is horrific. But this is a brand new shot, and it's the first time that I've ever seen it, and I think it's a world premiere as far as this is concerned.
Oh, and off goes one of the Lolas, and now we are with De Cesaris coming into the pit lane. You can see that the tyres are slowing down. Now he's in his Brabham pit position. He's wheeled backwards, and there is Ayrton Senna, who didn't go all that well by his high standards yesterday. 4th fastest in timed practice. I say timed, they are both timed, of course. This so-called untimed session is actually timed to 1,000th of a second, but those times do not count for grid positions. You're looking at a new car and driver combination for the Adelaide Grand Prix. And it's an interesting story because Patrese had signed to take the place of Nelson Piquet in the Williams team next year as a result of Piquet going to Lotus. But then Nigel Mansell crashed in Japan. There was a seat in the Williams team going spare. But naturally, Frank Williams, Honda, who provide the motive power, and the sponsors wanted the best possible man to drive this car in this critical last race. And Frank Williams and Bernie Ecclestone got together, Bernie Ecclestone being the head man of the Brabham team, and they agreed that Patrese would join early. There is Alboreto spinning off. Now you see there's a big problem, the high curves. He rode up on the curve, now he's got to go off it again, and in those circumstances there is always a danger of the under tray being damaged.
Certainly is, and we did see Nakajima, who were looking over the shoulder off right now, right over some curves around this Adelaide racetrack, and it was the bucking bronco ride, and that's what Alboreto just got. So here we have again our Thompson camera looking over the shoulder of Nakajima. He's made little errors of judgments for us before that have been most entertaining. I would hate to suggest that to him again today. I'm sure he wouldn't want to listen. But before the weekend's out, I fear that we're going to see another strange view of the Adelaide racetrack.
Into the pits. So in comes Nakajima, out goes De Cesaris and us. We don't get much rest, do we?
Well, apart from anything else, we've chosen two of the most spectacular drivers in the season, in fact, to have cars with cameras on them. One's famous for going backwards when he should be going forwards, and the other one's had little incidents while going forwards that have made him go backwards, if you understand what I'm saying.
Well, I'm sure most people will, Jackie. Going forwards, usually into somebody like Derek Warwick, which Nakajima did, and conclusively removed the whole of... See the sparks flying up. And Nakajima removed his right wheel and suspension. Now, you can even get a feel of the tremendous power and the acceleration and the grip, of course, of the cars. There's the snag. Now, we're going from Snag Turn down Rundle Road into the brewery. You've seen Nakajima do it. Now, this is the bit that Nakajima did a lap ago, and we're doing over 200 miles an hour now. And there's the sparks flying from the titanium plugs, and then he's just liquid to clear the lane. It's not the turbo. The turbo, there was a blast of turbo fire, and
He switched the engine off. The engine, he's freewheeling now. The smoke is coming out. You're seeing the smoke coming out. What a wonderful shot. You've just seen history. As far as I'm concerned in motor racing, the flame that you saw there was the flame coming out of the turbo exhaust. The smoke that you're now seeing, of course, is clearly our smoke. We've just been on board of about an 850 horsepower blower. Let's see it one more time. And it's at this point that the flame comes out, and that's hot business. What's happened is the spinner's probably gone. He's flipping the engine now. He's kicked it out of gear. Now he's switched the engine off. The smoke is the white smoke that was coming from the back of the car. He's pulled off the line so that any oil that might have been dropping has been okay. Look at our camera. There is the Chesseries with the blue glove on, looking down. There's his helmet, the pilot on the left-hand side. These are truly historic shots.
Good day, Andrew. We are now in the 21st minute of this 1.5 hour practice session, which does not count for the grid, and the fastest so far is Ayrton Senna, 1 minute 21.33, which is 4 seconds off the pole position time of Gerhard Berger yesterday afternoon. But as I keep saying, there is nothing significant about that, because what they are primarily doing now is to set the cars up.
Well, have you enjoyed those pictures as much as we did? And I must say, White Water Sports camera and crew, the whole lot have done a fantastic job the first 2 years, and they've made a very good start in the third year. I just get better and better at that. Run rolling again, and Jackie Stewart's history there to see Andre Crashers with the Berger. We're at there with him. It wasn't fantastic. That's the other thing. Jackie's commentary just sort of saying there, he's flipped the engine a couple of times, now he's turning it off. Absolutely amazing. I mean, he's got fantastic knowledge, as we all know, but he's also got the ability to impart to communicate that. Like a very exciting weekend of racing coming up again in Adelaide, and we'll be back with more of this morning's time practice in just a moment. G'day folks, I'm Stephen Johansson. Stay watching the 1987 Australian Grand Prix on 9 White Water Sports. And there it is at the back of the Brabham. That is our Thompson car camera that brought you those amazing pictures of Andre Chesseris when he blew that turbo. And as you can see, not much damage to the Brabham. Certainly nothing like we saw yesterday when Alex Caffey's had Celicourt fire and just about burnt out. Yes, it was rather appropriate. I think that he's got sponsors in the coffee making business. They certainly had a pretty warm brew going yesterday. It's one way or another with the Ferrari going so quick and the Italians like Crashers and Caffey getting into trouble. It's been a very lively weekend for our friends from Italy. It certainly has. And well, that's not the only spectacular things that we've seen here in Adelaide. There's been plenty of spinners. In fact, we saw yesterday more spinners than we see in the season at Sydney Cricket Ground. And as we go back to the second session of untimed practice, which has just finished a few moments ago here at the Adelaide Circuit, let's have a look at more of the untimed practice with Murray and Jackie. Now there is Ivan Capelli, the Italian in the margin. You can see what's happened to him. I was talking about the high curves a moment ago. Well, Capelli has literally got his march wedged on the curve. It's rocking on the centre point of the car. You can see that the rear wheels are clear of the ground, so there's no way you can get traction. He's trying, you see. Rear wheels spinning around. They're not even throwing on the gravel because there is a gap between the bottom of the tyres and the ground. And the only way they're going to get Capelli off is to stop the practice and physically lift him off. And I suspect that is what will have to happen because there is Yannick Delmas stopped as well, and they will need to clear the course.
And now you see Modena. Modena is standing around without any overalls on, Murray.
Yes, it's very unfortunate for the young Italian, the ex-world champion artist, because he will be very sick. He's losing vital time on the track. One of the Brabhams has been blown up very comprehensively when we had that exciting vision of the fire from the turbo into Chesseris' car. The Chesseris has gone out in the spare because he is now, as he humorously pointed out in the pits yesterday, Brabham's #1 driver, and Stefano Modena is very much the number 2. And Modena's car, which you can see in the background, has obviously got a problem.
Now, of course, in this section, there could be several of the cars running with fairly full tanks as we look down on Gerhard Berger, the pole sitter. Here he's out in the race car, his number 28 Ferrari, going 1.5 laps, a smooth, clean run he had to there in the traffic, using the road, getting past one of the Brabhams there. That, of course, will be the Chesseris as he accelerates away. Another car there, the Lotto car behind the Ligier, Beniano, as they accelerate. And you can see Gerhard Berger, he's tall, he's thin, he's light. No racing driver is anything either, no heavy racing driver. I suppose Nigel Mansell, well, Paul Allen's put on a few pounds of weight. It would certainly be difficult for him to get into the crowded space of a modern Formula 1 car, but all of those drivers are very light, and the very good ones are the lightest ones. You look at that, of course, if you look down from our helicopter shot here, along the main Brabham straight, where Gerhard Berger will be getting up to 20 miles an hour, he's down into first gear now, using the racing line right there with a diamond cut to save using extra inches of the road.
What a very pretty car that is.
And what a wonderful name. The name of Ferrari, no matter where we go around the world, there are more Ferrari flags and supporters to that team than any other team in racing. Lotus people know the name of, many Brabham, they know the name of very well too. But Viva Ferrari is what everybody calls for, everybody shouts for. Italians around the world, enormously patriotic. And of course, Mr. Ferrari himself, a living legend at 89 years of age, still alive, still very much into his motor racing. He lives for it, in fact.
Ferrari are the only team currently in Grand Prix racing who competed in the first World Championship race, which was in 1950. For those of you who are interested in the order, although it's not terribly significant, Senna is fastest at the present moment, and we are in the 37th minute of this 1.5 hour practice session. Senna fastest, Wilson second, Patrese third, Berger fourth, Farby fifth, Chesseris sixth. So it's significant that the 2 minutes are in the top 6.
That is a normally aspirated engine, but he's certainly having a lot of smoke coming out of one exhaust pipe. The left-hand flank. It looks to me like he's going to distance, perhaps he may have caught the bow, and therefore there's a lot of smoke coming out. He's looking in his rearview mirror, and he can see that smoke. And therefore you have to pay attention. He's dropping oil on the racetrack. Here it's being reported up from the mark of the course that the winner's car is dropping oil. The oil flags are out as they follow him along. That's a yellow and a red striped flag.
Hello, Prosper. Prost, not unusually, is way down the pecking order at the moment. He's not worried about times. What he is worried about is getting the car set up. And as a matter of fact, sometimes the times you see can be very misleading. Nelson Piquet, for instance, is not about sandbagging. He will go as fast as he possibly can on one part of the course, then slower. Then he goes as fast as he can on the part of the course where he slowed up on the previous lap. And the object of the exercise is to appear to be going slower than he is, whilst at the same time really working out how quickly he can go. And then he puts it all together, and everybody is shattered when they find that he's in pole position.
And this is what Alan Prost sometimes does too. And by the way, at the moment he is speaking to his crew, you can see him gesturing with his finger, but in fact what he was doing is talking to the man with his back to you right now. That's the conversation that's going on. Alan may well be saying he needs more roll stiffness or more right height or more spring damping. And one of the most important things of even doing 1 or 2 corners quickly is to be able to find out if you can get rid of the understeer. You go out, you do a series of 3 corners, and then you come back in for adjustment.
That man has not gone raving mad, sticking a needle into the tyres. That is a tyre temperature gauge. He's got a needle on it. He puts the needle in the left-hand side of the tread, the middle of the tread, and the right-hand side of the tread. And the object of the exercise is to get even temperatures across the tyre, because then they know that the whole of the tyre tread is on the ground, therefore giving the maximum traction, and as a result of that, the maximum grip and speed. Darryl Swig in the pits.
Well, thank you, Murray. Alan Jones. Alan Prost has been very quiet over the weekend. He has been working very hard on the middle of the car. You'll find now when you tilt the ride, and Prost emerges probably one of the quickest in the outside warm-up tomorrow, and he'll be there in the race, because that's exactly the way they work. They just try to get the head down and get on with it. They set the car up for the race, very much like a Williams team. But somehow the McLaren with the Jag engine seems to always come strong on race day, and they work very much towards that. Working on the suspension for a long time yesterday afternoon. Well, they'll be having to tune the car up and time with the circuit. Maybe it's a different car from last year. I'm sure we'll be quite a few modifications. They're really doing quite a bit to it to set it up, and you'll probably find him like rain race this afternoon in qualifying as well. That's it from the pits, Barry Walker.
Stefan Johansson will desperately be hoping to break a record on Sunday, and that is his record of never having won a Grand Prix, because Sunday will be his last drive for the McLaren team, and although his chances seem to have virtually disappeared of getting a Grand Prix drive next year, if he did well on Sunday, it might just tip the balance. Stefan has driven for Ferrari, he's driven in the Spirit team, he's driven for Tyrrell, he's driven for Tollman, and now he's with McLaren as the Ferrari runs wide, you saw there, to the left of the curving, and through goes Stefan Johansson. I don't know why the Ferrari ran wide. It looked to me actually as though he was likely to be stopping, because he wasn't going all that quick.
Stephen Johansson there in untimed practice on Saturday morning. That was a run at Adelaide Grand Prix, the third Australian Grand Prix, and we just heard Alan Jones talking about the McLaren team, in particular Alain Prost, and why they've been so successful. I know he's your choice, Skipper, for this Grand Prix. Yeah, I'm a fan of Alain Prost, and it's interesting this year. Everybody here in Adelaide say he's the greatest driver in the world. The first couple of times we're down here, big 80s fans, and well, we all have their fans, but nobody seems to argue with the fact that Alain Prost, the professor, is the king. And such a wonderful bloke, everyone seems to like him as well, which is a bit unusual in the sport. That's right, in a sport where there are a few difficult customers, the champ is what happens, the outstanding character is a lovely fella. All right, we'll be back with more of untimed practice here on Wide World of Sports in just a moment. Hi, I'm Richie Gale. I hope you're enjoying the Australian.
Will last on Sunday because although it hasn't been officially announced, it seems certain that this smart little laid-back Italian is leading Grand Prix racing. Grand Prix racing after Sunday and going back to the American Indianapolis kart racing, kart with a C and not with a K, in which he has done so well in the past. Harvey has never made the impression on Grand Prix racing that a lot of people expected him to. He's very much respected by Benetton for his testing ability, but that testing ability has not been translated into good race finishes. In fact, the best that Harvey has been able to do this year was a third place in Austria. He's had a couple of fifths and a fourth and a sixth, but wins are what people are after, and certainly teams and sponsors are after, and I think Benetton will be politely showing Harvey the door and allowing a new man in. There is speculation about whether it will be Alessandro Nannini, the Minardi driver, or even Johnny Herbert, the popular and gifted British Formula 3 champion in 1987. Well, one of the men we are sure will be racing is Ayrton Senna, and Daryl's got something to tell us about him.
Yes, well, thanks, Marianne. Senna's just coming to the pits now. Wasn't terribly impressive yesterday, really quick this morning. Well, that's right, Daryl. I've obviously gone back and checked on the computer and done the homework and all of a few things, and it's responded. He's quick this morning. I would say they're probably using half the full tanks and trying out race conditions, as indeed most of the people are today. But at this point in time, it's looking very good for the race order. They have been spending a lot of time looking at the engine and talking about all over the weekend. Well, I suppose they're just checking fluids. I mean, the Japanese are probably doing their own homework, seeing how much they're using in what space of time, making sure that they're going to control the race tomorrow.
And now we see Gerhard Berger back on the racetrack, the Italian flame-red Ferrari, getting around here, and of course we're looking for him to slip in a quick one. He's sitting at fourth fastest right now, Prost is fifth, and of course still Senna, Wilson and Patrese are up there in front, but Berger I think you'll see just to catch everybody by surprise. Look, he's on quick when he's over the curves, and look at how cars leap over those curves. They're quite high here in Adelaide, and the drivers should really pay attention because a wheel can get hooked up on the curve, and of course Nigel Mansell sitting at home on the Isle of Man because of just doing that very thing. You can't take liberties in racing cars. Familiarity breeds contempt, and if you use the curve long enough, you will make mistakes. Let's see how Berger drives around here, staying away from them. That was a neat exit without going over the curve.
Berger was fastest in this 1.5 hour non-qualifying session yesterday. His time of 1:18.351 was in fact faster than Nigel Mansell's pole position last year, and he's significantly slower today. Berger at the moment is third fastest, 1:21, and 3 seconds slower than he was in the equivalent session yesterday. But that still doesn't mean anything. We are only now in the 58th minute of this practice period, which lasts an hour and a half, and I'm pretty confident at the end of it in the closing minutes, when they've got the car set up, they reduce the fuel load, they've got the suspension the way they want it, they will make sure that everything is right for qualifying by going for a quick lap. And if Berger or whoever is going to be fastest in this session today is not very close to that 1:18.3 of yesterday, I will be very surprised.
Well, I think Berger in fact may now be on a quick lap. He called it halfway around that last lap in fact, and in the meantime Derek Warwick has spun off, joining the ranks of spinners of the day. So we'll look out for Berger here. If he gets a clean lap, I think you'll see him getting into the 20s, if not faster. I don't know how much fuel he's carrying, we didn't say, but he's certainly on a quick one right now. Look at the car darting. Let's just see how well he comes into the corner as he goes down the main straight. Here he comes, getting the brakes on, you see the sparks, not using all of the road. I'm not sure whether he's on a quick one, not. He wasn't using all of the exit there, but he is quite fast. He's faster than the last one I would suggest. Watch the clock. If he's going to be much faster, he's going to find this corner. Yes, he's quicker this time, but it won't be a particularly fast lap. But I think he might just be able to scratch. Yes, that's fast.
That's the fastest we've had today. That's the fastest today. Senna has got it wrong. Nakajima's got it wrong. Senna's got it right, of course, but Nakajima's gone off on the street circuit that he does not like.
Well, we may well see a replay of this. This is up at the hairpin, I think, that Nakajima has. Well, let's wait to see it. And here he comes. Here he comes into the corner. He's got understeer. He accelerates along here. He's in no trouble there. He's coming to the last corner of the racetrack here. And now he's got up the clock. He just the tail end kicked out there, and he reverses. We're looking at his rear view to see what he's going to hit.
Now Senna is speeding up. You're looking at one of Grand Prix's top drivers. The man, the Brazilian, who has 6 Grand Prix victories behind him. He will be competing in his 62nd Grand Prix on Sunday. Most of them have been in the Lotus. Very contentious personality, Ayrton Senna. Very single-minded, very determined to succeed. He broke his contract with Tolman in controversial circumstances, brought himself out of it so that he could get a better ride with Lotus. He has been with the Lotus team now, the outfit that he's with, for 3 years, 1985, 86 and 87. And next year, he is going to the McLaren team with Honda engines to partner the great Alain Prost. There are people who say that Senna will be a real danger to Prost. He's coming up to the line now. Let's see how quickly he has gone.
He's into second fastest. He's improved his time a little bit, but certainly hasn't gone fast enough to go ahead of Berger.
Yes, Riccardo Patrese trying very hard today. He nearly lost it then, but succeeded in keeping the Williams on the track.
Patrase's in fact on a fast lap right now. You can see the smoke coming out of the exhaust pipe of Patrase's engine, and that means that they're running a very rich mixture. This is now Nelson Piquet who's going out, who has now spotted himself into number 2 position in this 1.5 hour session.
Alain Prost, he doesn't give a darn, but nevertheless, having said that, I'll prove myself wrong, because Alain Prost is now fastest. He's done 27 laps today. We are only having 9 minutes to go. 1 minute and 21 seconds of this session has been completed, and zap, up to the top of the timing list has gone number 1, Alain Prost.
Yes, the professor does it again. He shoots to the top of the list in untimed practice. That's the second session of untimed practice, and I think, Murray, I heard